This is Scott the Fix-It Guy today with a way to clean the Whirlpool and KitchenAid dishwashers. Sometimes they just accumulate a bunch of junk down in the system and then they don't pump the water around very well anymore. So sometimes you don't get enough water pressure to bring water to the upper rack, and things in the upper rack aren't getting clean, or you just notice that the machine is not cleaning as well as it should. It's probably just an accumulation of a bunch of stuff caught in the mechanism. So we want to unplug it. We're going to pull out the upper rack. We're going to lift out these plastic clips at the end. So we're going to push up, take the bottom one out, get the top one out, and we'll do the same on the other side. Lift up on that clip, and then we're going to pull the upper rack out. We already got the lower rack out, and then we're going to be getting down into the lower part of the dishwasher from the top. I'm going to grab onto this and turn it to my right clockwise to loosen up this little plastic nut, and that's going to allow me to take off that spray arm. That's the lower spray arm. I'll take a Torx, I believe it's a Torx 15 bit to undo these screws. I'll zip these out. And there's one that's kind of hidden underneath this this plastic piece, and I need to move this tube out of the way. So I'm going to be removing a couple of Phillips head screws that are holding it in position. One here, right about midway up, and then there's one at the top too. Make sure we don't lose those. So it's a Phillips head. Zip that one out. Then we'll take out the one at the top also. And this brings water up to the middle spray arm and the very top spray assembly too. So once we get the screws out, we're going to just pull this blue piece toward us to get it out of the way, and we're going to shift the entire tube to the right, and that's going to let go. We can pull that whole thing out of there. So it's going to go. Now with this whole piece removed, it exposes one last screw that we can take out with the Torx 15 driver. Got to shift from Phillips to Torx. Zip that one out, and then we've got to lift up on this whole filter assembly. Sometimes I'll use like a standard head screwdriver to help kind of pry it out because they're on there pretty tight. All the screws are out, but it's just they get kind of stuck. So I'm going to pry up a little bit. There we go. And often you'll find a bunch of crud down in here, but this one actually looks really clean. So somebody was really rinsing their dishes. We got to drop down to a Torx 10 now to remove another little screw that's holding the plastic gate that kind of protects the circulation impeller. So we're going to zip out this little screw, and then we're going to use a pair of pliers to grab onto the top plastic portion of this gate. Grab it, lift up. That's going to expose a screen and also a cutting edge that's part of the impeller assembly. There's usually a lot of junk caught down in there that you can just lift out with your hands or needle nose pliers. But this one again is unusually clean. So this is kind of what it looks like once it is clean. The gate usually has a bunch of stuff right there that you have to clean out. So since this one looks fine, we're going to go ahead and just put everything back together, and we'll test it again. But that's how it should look. It should be really clean in there. The thing where my finger is called the Turbidity Sensor. That one had a little bit of dirt in there. I'll clean it up. So I'm going to put the gate back in, and then I'll put the screw back in that holds that. I think it's a Torx 10. It's really common with this model This is a Whirlpool and KitchenAid that this area gets full of junk, and all of a sudden the dishwasher just doesn't clean very well. And what it's happening is it's limiting the amount of water that can go into the circulation pump because there's a bunch of crud in the way, and it can't produce enough pressure to really get water to the upper spray arms. So cleaning it out makes a huge difference. So we got that back in. We're going to put this filter assembly back in. Maybe we'll clean it up a little more before putting it back. I want to get that turbidity sensor where I'm cleaning right now nice and clean. That's sending a light signal between 2 points, and if there's a lot of dirt in there, it's telling the dishwasher that it still needs to clean longer. So it's important that that be clean. Getting some of the junk out of here, but normally you find a lot of stuff. Like you'll find toothpicks and fish bones and all kinds of stuff. But this homeowner is doing a great job of rinsing their dishes before they put them in the dishwasher, and that makes the dishwasher last a lot longer. This particular dishwasher was not being opened up to help with a low pressure problem. This is just a maintenance thing I was doing after another procedure. So we're going to put the screws back in. Here's the model number for this dishwasher. This is a Whirlpool. The problem with this dishwasher was that it wasn't filling because the float assembly, which is this mushroom looking thing, was not going down far enough to tell the dishwasher that the water had all drained out. So we're just putting those screws back in, getting those tight. I just had to adjust the float a little bit so that the dishwasher could tell that there was no water, and then it would let new water come in. So we're going to put this tube back in. This brings water up to this upper arm and also the mid arm. I'm making sure the upper arm didn't have any junk caught in it. So we're going to install it at about the 2 o'clock position, and then we'll rotate it to the 12 o'clock position. We're going to push it in, and we'll add the 2 Phillips head screws, one in the middle and one at the top, that hold it into position. Doing this procedure, say, every year would be fine. For this homeowner, they probably would never have to do it again because, once again, they're just rinsing their dishes before they put them in. So I'm going to go ahead and put this screw on by hand first, kind of get it started with my fingers, and then I'll zip it in with the Phillips head screwdriver. Some people don't want to rinse their dishes, and that's okay. These machines can handle it. It just means that you got to get in here and do this cleaning, probably every year. And you can kind of gauge it upon how well your dishwasher is cleaning the dishes. If it starts to have trouble, especially with the upper rack, it's wise to do this. Probably take you 20 minutes and you'll be done. So we're putting that Phillips head screw there at the top to hold on the upper part. And then we're going to put the lower spray arm back in, making sure it's all clean. So put that on, and then we're going to take this nut, turn it to the left, and that tighten that up. Making sure that can spin well. We're going to add that blue part back in too on the tube. Now the blue thing just helps disperse some of the water, squirts it around more. And that did the trick. Got it cleaning really strong again. So I hope that helps you with your KitchenAid and Whirlpool dishwasher. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.